Chapter 3. I still can't believe it. Conan rolled his eyes and looked away, watching Amy almost jumped into Haibara's arm, wrapping her hand around her neck, causing Haibara to gasp in a staggering weight. George and Mitch looked at Conan enviously. Why do you always get the girl? Mitch demanded angrily, prodding his finger against Conan's chest, causing him to bounce back and from with every poke. First you got Amy, you had Rachel as your sister, and now Haibara? What else will you take? Oi, oi, said Conan tensely, grabbing Mitch's finger to stop him from doing any more damage. First of all, I didn't have Amy. She just liked me, and I already turned her down. She accepted it, and that's why she's so happy for Haibara. Number two, Rachel isn't my sister. She was just a friend of mine. And third of all, it wasn't my fault that I got married to Haibara. It was the professor and his friend who arranged it. What was I supposed to do? The two boys opened and shut their mouths for a while before sulking and looking away. Fine, George said. You win again. You should be a lawyer, Mitch said, pouting. No, something better than that, George said enthusiastically. Maybe something more cooler, like him. A doctor, Mitch asked. No, George said, rubbing his chin. Not that. A detective, Conan asked quietly. The two of them stoned out for a while. Yeah, Mitch said softly. You'll need the smartness, coolness, and sharp eyes. I guess you could. I already am, Conan reminded them. The two of them raised their eyebrows at him. Without us? Mitch said, cocking his brow. I didn't think you could manage. You're a detective, George said. Maybe I've been overseas too long. Dope! Mitch said. Conan didn't say anything but looked around. Where was Rachel? Harvey and waved at him, Kazuya right next to him, her face blushing like the sun as people congratulated her for their lucky wedding. Conan smiled at him and waved back at him as he came over. Where's Rachel and the others? Conan asked, looking behind Harley, expecting Rachel and probably more mature Richard and Miss Cadence behind him. Harley scratched his forehead and suddenly uncomfortable. She left the country months ago. I don't think she got your letters. Conan's eyes widened before he smiled bitterly. Yeah, I guess. I guess that's what happened. Haibara pulled away from the swarm of women who were laughing gaily and noticed the look on Conan's face. You still love her, don't you? She thought, looking away, returning to the conversation. Kudo, you haven't changed one bit. Meanwhile, a man in a dark suit walked casually down the street, stepping into the dark Porsche that he owned. Nothing seemed to be out of the ordinary except traces of mud prints surrounding his car. He blinked as he bent down, surveying it. It's about the size of two adult teeth, he thought carefully, pulling the keys out of his pocket. Could they be inside? And just when he was about to take out the familiar gun from his chest pocket, he noticed something. He grinned and dropped it back in, opening the door and slamming it shut as fast as he opened it. He carefully lit himself a cigarette, turned on the gear of his car, and listened to it hum silently. What are you doing here? Jenny asked. The person sitting down in the back seat smiled. You're always smart, Baroda, he said, nodding at Vaca, who was reaching for his pocket for his pistol. Vaca sat back against the chest, his finger leaving the pistol once more. Aren't you supposed to be in jail? Baroda asked calmly. Not anymore, Jin said. Vermouth helped me get out. With that mask on two meaningless people. As far as anyone knows, me and Vaca are both not currently in the universe anymore. Baroda seemed to think for a moment before pulling the car out of the driveway, pushing the car slowly through the deserted roads near the pier. Well, what do you want with me? Baroda asked. The organization is ruined. All we can do at this moment is find our own goals and destinies. That is all for us this moment. He glanced from the rearview mirror. That is all. Is that so? Jin muttered, a smirk playing on his lips. I happen to find out my own goal and my own destiny. Baroda raised his eyebrows. Speak, he said. I plan to crash your wedding, Jin said. It's far over by the time we reach there now, but I plan to destroy as much as physically possible. I want that woman back in my arms, and not in the hands of some worthless, mind-blowing detective. Rhoda didn't say anything as they roared past a wine store. Vodka just stared at Jin from the corner of his eyes. Boss isn't speaking like he usually is, he muttered to himself. What is with him? Rhoda stayed sullen for a moment. What do you need? He asked. You, Jin said. The mastermind of all electronics. I just need some of your devices and just a tiny bit of help. It's done, Baroda said, stopping the car on the side of the road. Vodka looked at him in surprise. Jin seemed somehow to understand. The same place, Jin, he said. Jin nodded and started to get out. Who is this girl, Jin? Baroda called out and Jin froze. Who is this girl, Jin? He smirked. Sherry, he said as he shut the door behind him. Broda stayed there in his car a while when Jin and Vodka slowly disappeared into the crowd. His shocked expression remained on his face for a while before he smiled. So, he's still in love with her, he thought. Flashback. It was about when Jin reached his 18th birthday when he first met Sherry, the woman of ice. He and Broda were walking along the grounds of the place when Jin suddenly stopped in his walk. Broda stopped too, looking in the direction Jin was facing. There was a girl alone in an empty silence left, notes piled up in her hands, her fingers constantly tapping furiously on the keyboard. "That's Sherry," Broda said, and Jin blinked. "Sherry," he repeated, tasting the words in his tongue. Broda nodded. "Yeah, that's Sherry, all right. I remember her because she was the only one person in the classroom who knew the formula for a plasmic cryotonic bond. It was amazing. She was about 3 years younger than most of the other people in her class. That makes her the best scientist around here. Plus, she's not that bad to look at either. Why?" Jin just gazed at her until she looked up, noticing him staring at her. There, they met eye contact for a while before she looked away, getting back to her research. Jin blinked. "Yeah, that's why she's so darn unpopular around here," Broda said. "So cold and silent, ignoring whenever anyone else tries to say to her. She's in her own little world by herself. She has no friends." "None at all?" Jin asked, with a voice so full of remorse that it sounded almost nothing like him. "None," Broda said. "What's the matter?" Jin looked away. "I don't know," he said, a small blush appearing on his cheeks. "I just couldn't resist myself. She's beautiful." Broda smiled. "Yeah," he said, "she's gorgeous." Jin started to walk away, his eyes taking one last peek at her. "You're going to be mine," he whispered to himself, ignoring Broda, who was calling him from behind. "Whether you like it or not." End of flashback. Jin pulled out his wallet, fingering a picture inside it. Vodka and Jin were sitting directly opposite side of a rectangular table inside a fast food restaurant. Vodka was pigging out while Jin looked at it. It was a picture of the two of them together on um, Sherry's 18th birthday. For once he was smiling, a slight blush on her face, with Jin's left arm hanging loosely around her neck. He grinned at it, placing it delicately back in his wallet. He loved her. Hell, he still did. Vodka watched him from the corner of his eyes. Inside him, something burst. There was something he had changed Jin. He was cold. He was cold, killing people whenever and whoever he wanted until that person showed up, and he had stopped, almost completely. Sherry. He bit into his noodles. He was not going to let break Jin's heart. Never. "Well, that went well," Conan said, laughing. Haibara didn't say anything, but slowly unbuttoned the buttons of her dress slowly. "Haibara!" he yelled, clamping his hands over his eyes, and she blinked, watching it almost wrench the door open. "What?" she asked. You can't adjust in front of me like that," he gasped, shutting the door behind him. Haibara bit her lip, not knowing whether to laugh or cry. She undressed herself, slipping into her pajamas, smirking as she saw his back turned towards her. "What's the matter, Kudo?" she asked. "Your hormones not working properly today?" A blush crept across his face. "I'm okay. I'm dressed now," she said irritably. He turned and crawled into her bed. She lay down beside him, and his blush deepened as he felt her hot breath against the base of his neck. "Hey, Hybrid," he muttered. She asked sleepily. His mouth opened and shut embarrassedly before turning around. "Nothing," he said. "It's all good." Hybrid blinked before shutting her eyes. Then the thought of Conan's hurt expression drew itself in her mind once more. She sighed and opened her eyes once again. "Kudo," she said. "Yeah?" he said. "Do you still love her?" he asked quietly, in a voice even herself couldn't hear. "What?" he asked. She turned around, facing back at him. "Nothing," she said. "Absolutely nothing." End of chapter 3. Well, that was an interesting chapter. Flashbacks, romantics, main villain falling in love with the part of the main heroine. Okay, I know I promised you guys like I would do it on Thursday, but I didn't really find enough time. So what I'll do is I probably will not post another chapter up today. But I will post another chapter up probably on Sunday night. Depends to see how the day goes. As for my next anime and book review and movie review, we'll see what comes to mind. And if you guys have any ideas, throw them at me. I don't really give a darn if you guys. I don't know. But. Sorry, my throat is a little dry. Better yet, I'll pick the anime. I'll call everything down the middle. And I'll try to linger over the people's sides. But I won't stay there for a while. If I do, please write in the comment section, like on the side I'm staying on, and I should get out of it, because that's always helpful for me. So for me, Knight Rider 7602, see you in about a few hours. Goodbye.